Alright, in this video I want to talk about n numbers or sequence numbers. Anytime a software or a CAD software posts out a program, it usually assigns an n number to every single line in that program. And I usually get rid of those because first of all it takes up a lot of memory and there's not really a good use for those n numbers on every single line. But what I would like to teach you is assigning an n number or a sequence number to each operation. So for instance, for this first facing operation where we're using tool number 20, I would like to teach you to assign an n number that is the tool number multiplied times 100. So it'll be tool 20 times 100, so it'll be n2000. So that is the sequence number of that operation. Now the program doesn't do anything with it, but if you know the sequence number of an operation, you can do a quick search and get right to that particular operation. So let's look for the next tool. Tool number 1 obviously would be an n number of tool number 1 multiplied times 100 is n100. The next tool here is tool number 5 multiplied times 100 is n500. Tool 3 n300. Tool 4 n400. Tool 7 n700. Now here we're using the same tool on a different offset, so that will be a different part on the table. And so the second time that same tool is called up, we want to increase the n2000 by 10. So if it's called up a second time, it goes from n2000 to n210. If it gets called up a third time, then it would change to n2020. So you have about 9 times before you would get yourself in trouble, because it goes from n2090 to n2100, and n2100 may be a sequence number to tool number 21. But if you're calling up a tool more than 9 times in the program, you may have to reconsider your operation. It just all depends on what it is you're working on, and then you may have to use a different strategy. Alright, so we go to the next tool. Here is a chamfer tool being called up a second time. So n number 400 was the first sequence number for the first operation. Here the tool is called up again for an operation at G55. So we're increasing that n400 to n410. So n numbers are going to be used anytime we're doing a search or if we're calling up a subroutine with an M97, and that's usually done on a Haas. But also on macro calls, n numbers are what are used to find an operation or a sequence number. So going forward, I'd like you to assign a sequence number at every operation, taking the tool number, multiplying it times 100, and if it's the second time, increasing it by 10. If it's a third time, increasing it by another 10, so that'd be 20, and so on. Alright, so let's take a quick look at a summary. Alright, so in summary, n numbers are used to search data either manually or by using an M97 subroutine call. That's usually done on a Haas, or in a go-to statement used on a FNUC control. In both cases, the control looks for n numbers inside the program. Alright, so it's a good habit to start each new operation with an n number, keeping the following format in mind. Start each operation with a unique n number. Take the tool number and multiply it by 100. So here's a few examples. Tool number 1 equals n100, and I think the rest makes sense. So the second time we call that tool number 1, we increase that n100 by 10, and so on. So at no time should a program have two identical sequence numbers, enabling the program to start with the wrong operation. You can imagine if you're doing an M97 with a P110, it will be looking for N110, and if there are two N110s, it could potentially start at the wrong sequence number. Alright, so that is it for n numbers or sequence numbers. In the next video I'm going to talk to you about M97 subroutine call that actually look for these n numbers.